الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. One of the things that always involve Umrah is what is known as these two pieces of cloth named Ihraam or called Ihraam. And as we explained the difference between the actual cloth and the state of Ihram is that this is a symbol of you being in the state of Ihram. And the state of Ihram is actually a divine and spiritual space you walk into when you make that intention and announcement by saying Labbaik Allahumma Umrah or Labbaik Allahumma Hajj, is when you announce the beginning of your process of performing either Umrah or Hajj. And then you, prior to that, you wear these two pieces of cloth. So, and wearing the pieces of cloth, I want to demonstrate, first of all, how there's so many different ways to wear them, but the main thing is for you to know that the Ihram and these two pieces of cloth, you have only two. And there's so many different ways people wear them. But the main thing is not how you wear them. You can actually wear them by wrapping the bottom piece, and you wrap the bottom piece. And then if you need to wear a belt to hold it, you can. You can wear a belt. Some people use a fanny pack, so you can actually put your passport, your keys, and then the way you do it, you just wrap it around your waist, any way you can comfortably. And the bottom one is called izar. The bottom piece of cloth is called izar. This is it, as you see. It's very easy. Wrap it around you. And then as for the top piece is called rida. Rida is the one that goes. Now, it's very important. A couple things to keep in mind. One, the timing and the how. The timing to wear the piece of cloth is prior to you making the announcement for your Umrah. Only two scenarios as to when. Either you are going to go end up in Mecca directly. You're going to start rather with Mecca from Jeddah, because all of the airplanes majority of them go straight to Mecca. For those who want to start, or rather to Jeddah, those who want to start with Mecca first. But those who fly directly to Medina, they will start with Medina. But sometimes you will find it that those who land in Jeddah, they will start with Medina regardless. So the point is, if you are starting with Mecca, you have to have already this on you, which is only these two pieces of clothing, nothing for men. Women, they wear their own clothes, no restrictions when it comes to the attire they wear, right? So there's something known as miqat that is correlated with wearing the ihram and making the announcement for the beginning of your Umrah or Hajj. The miqat is actually the entry point there is an entry point to what is known as the perimeter of the haram. Meaning, there is that sacred perimeter or area that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had already designated. The Prophet ﷺ made announcements specifically to 5 different entry points into that sacred area. And prior to entering into that sacred area, you're supposed to have already had these, the ihram, and also make announcements. So for those who want to start with Mecca immediately, they usually make the announcement and have the ihram worn already in the plane. Prior to actually landing in Jeddah, the entry point is actually up in the air, about 15 minutes prior to landing. So they will make announcement in the airplane that we're about to enter the miqat. meaning that you should be already ready with this. And prior to doing that, you need to stand and with the airplane actually headed towards the Qibla, because you're supposed to face the Qibla before, and you make the announcement by saying, Labbaik Allahumma Umrah, on behalf of me, of my father, whoever it is that you're doing the Umrah for. And you make that out loud. You literally announce it. And it is no different than you when you stand prior to starting the Salah, you face the Qibla and then you say, Allahu Akbar. And then that puts you in that spiritual zone, the sacred zone of the prayer. The same thing is the minute you make the announcement, you already entered the state of Ihraam. And prior to that, you will need to wear these two pieces of cloth, also called Ihraam. And with this, you walk into the state of Ihraam, you get to Mecca. The first thing you need to do, you go straight, do all of the routines that needs to be done, but you are still wearing these two pieces of cloth. And if you wanted to shower, if you start with the hotel, you can shower, except that you don't use any soap or anything that is fragranced, but you can still shower. And it is highly recommended that when you get to Mecca, for you to do a full body ghusl. It is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. That is if you can. If you cannot, you don't have to. But if you can, you can. But just with water. And you do full ghusl, put your ihram back on, and you go to start the tawaf and performing the umrah. Now, we're done with the timing. The same thing for those who will start with Medina. They don't have to worry about wearing this in the airplane. That's the advantage of it. You do it actually in your hotel in Medina, and you make an announcement in Abiyar Ali. Usually that's where the entry point for the people coming to Mecca from the direction of Medina. But those who are coming to Mecca via Jeddah, they have to do it in airplane. The point, when you come from either direction, you start by wearing the ihram and you cover both of your shoulders. All you do is you cover this. You cover yourself with the rida, and you're covered the whole time. However, in Umrah, and I emphasize on this, Umrah only, the Umrah only, is the only time where you are supposed to actually uncover the right shoulder, only for the tawaf of the Umrah. The 7 laps you take around the Kaaba, and we will talk about the tawaf and how you do all of it, but I'm talking here about just the use of the ihram right now. And that is the only time you uncover your right shoulder throughout all the 7 laps, only in Umrah. You don't do it in Hajj. Because for those who start with Tamattu', for instance, they are required to do twice the tawaf. The first one is the Umrah tawaf as soon as they arrive to Mecca. And then there is the second tawaf, and they will be wearing this ihram, and this is during the time of Hajj, but they do not. This is a very common mistake and misconception, that every time you make tawaf, you have to uncover your right shoulder. No, this happens only in Umrah and Umrah only. Very important. And as soon as you're done with the tawaf, as we will explain that, as soon as you're done with the tawaf, you don't go and do the sa'i between Safa and Marwa with your shoulder uncovered. The minute you finish the tawaf, you cover again the shoulder. So it is only and only uncovered during the tawaf, the first 7 laps in the tawaf of Umrah. The minute you're done with that, then you continue with all the steps of performing the Umrah by drinking the Zamzam, by praying 2 rak'ahs behind Maqam Ibrahim, and then heading over to making your 7 laps between Safa and Marwa, and after that you go and shave your head, and that's your Umrah done. It is that simple. It is so easy. It is so simple, but it is important to know these nuances and all of these details. So ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who, when they hear the speech, they follow the best of it. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyina Muhammad walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.